So the new year is off and running. And I think we all knew Pastor Matthew's new series, Wisdom for Every Day, was going to be important.
Yeah.
But that first sermon on James chapter 1, verses 1 through 8, it felt truly foundational, like it set the whole tone for 2026.
It really did. That theme he established, that conscious choice to move from the world's wisdom to God's wisdom.
Right. And from what the world says is right to what the Word says is right.
That's a huge shift. And starting with the book of James, it's the perfect place to begin that journey.
So we've got our notes out from the sermon, and we're just going to dive deep into those first 8 verses, that section he called Various Trials.
And there is so much there. But first, he gave that reminder that we absolutely need, which is that James is an incredible book, but it demands context.
Oh, for sure. Without it, it can sound...
a little judgy.
Yeah, a bit judgmental. It's so direct, so blunt.
Exactly. And the context he gave is that James was likely the very first book of the New Testament written. It was penned by James, the half-brother of Jesus, who became the leader of the church in Jerusalem.
So this is pre-Paul.
Way before. And because it's so early, it has more of that Old Testament feel, And he's writing to Jewish Christians, the 12 tribes, as he puts it.
And all of this is happening while the events in the book of Acts are still unfolding. They are in the middle of it.
In the thick of it. Real persecution, real pressure. That timeline is it's everything for understanding the urgency in his voice.
Okay, so let's start where he started. Verse 1, the way James introduces himself.
Yes, this says so much. He doesn't say, I'm the brother of Jesus, or I'm the bishop of Jerusalem.
Which he was. He had the credentials.
He had all of them. But he calls himself a doulos, a bondservant, a slave.
That humility is just staggering. It shows you what an encounter with the resurrected Christ actually does to a person. You stop promoting yourself.
Yeah. You just choose to serve. And from that posture, he addresses his audience. The 12 tribes, which are scattered abroad.
And as we heard, that's not just a literal term, it's a kind of euphemism.
Right. It's for the true church, the true chosen people of God who were being, scattered. Dispersed.
What really stood out to me from the sermon was the idea that this scattering wasn't an accident. It wasn't just bad luck.
No, it was strategic. It was deliberate. Pastor Matthew was so clear that the Lord allowed that great persecution in Jerusalem, the trial itself, to force the church to move.
They had gotten comfortable.
Totally. And they had to be pushed out to fulfill that command from Acts 1:8 to be witnesses beyond their little home base.
So the trial had a purpose. It forced growth. That's a huge takeaway for us right from the start. Our trials aren't wasted.
Not at all. And that's the perfect lead-in to verses 2 through 4, because it just confronts our human nature head on.
He made it so plain. Trials are unavoidable. If you're alive, you're either in one, coming out of one, or
heading into one. It's just the reality of the human experience.
And our first reaction, my first reaction, is always escape. Find the quickest way out. Find comfort.
Of course. But James just flips that upside down in verse 2. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials.
That word joy is such a roadblock for people.
It really is. But it's not about feeling happy that something painful is happening. It's about choosing to see the end result of the process, the guaranteed outcome.
And the word trials here, as we learn, specifically means anything that tests or proves the genuineness of your faith.
Right. For them, it was intense persecution. For us, it could be anything, really.
And this gets to that big theological question. Does God cause these bad things? And the teaching was so clear.
No, God doesn't author evil, but he absolutely allows these tests to happen.
And that's where that C.S. Lewis quote he used was just perfect.
It was so good. God isn't experimenting. He already knows the quality of our faith.
It's we who don't know. The trial is for us. It's the diagnostic.
It pulls back the curtain. It shows us what's really inside. And as he connected it to Romans, the trial sort of, it forces our external actions to catch up with the inward reality that we as believers already trust and love God.
And verse 3 gives us the how. The testing of your faith produces patience or endurance. That's the mechanism.
But just knowing that isn't enough, which is why verse 4 is the command. But let patience have its perfect work.
You have to let it. It's an active thing.
Yes, it's not passive waiting. It's an active, faithful perseverance. We have to allow it to finish its job.
So that we can be perfect and complete, lacking nothing.
And that's the payoff. lacking nothing. It means you come out with every good thing that trial was meant to produce in you. If you bail early, you leave incomplete.
Wow. Okay, so that whole setup brings us to verse 5, which is really the cornerstone for this entire series.
Absolutely. He shifts from the reality of trials to the guarantee of help.
If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives liberally and without reproach.
That promise is just incredible. He gives liberally, like in excess, overflowing.
And without reproach, without finding fault. He's not going to say, I told you so, or why did you wait so long to ask?
It's just a clean, free gift, and it's guaranteed.
But we have to know what we're asking for. He broke down that word wisdom, Sophia, for us.
Right. The basic definition is like skill or sound judgment. It's where we get words like philosophy.
But the sermon went so much deeper. He gave us those 4 kind of dimensions of what God's wisdom really is.
Yeah, the first one was God's rhythm for life. I love that analogy.
Me too. The beat God's truth. His standards, it never changes. But the rhythm has to change with the season, with the trial you're in.
Wisdom is knowing how to stay on beat even when the rhythm of your life is chaotic.
On the second one, God's way to be human.
Yes. The instruction manual for how we were designed to operate, it's the way to be truly, fully human.
Which is so different from the world's version. And the third was God's actual reality.
In a world of social media filters and, virtual reality, wisdom cuts through all that veneer to what is actually real and eternal.
And the last one felt so timely. God's general intelligence.
As opposed to artificial intelligence. AI is task-specific, it calculates. But God's wisdom is comprehensive. It includes morality, purpose, relationship, everything.
It's the superintelligence we actually need. So if trials are the forge, wisdom is the tool.
Guaranteed tool.
But what happens if you try to go through the fire without it? That's the warning he moved into next.
Exactly. Verses 6 through 8. 2 really dangerous consequences. The first one is doubt.
The opposite of trusting God. And that image in verse 6 is so vivid, like a wave of the sea just driven and tossed by the wind.
Complete instability. You have no anchor. And it's dangerous because doubt makes you question God's goodness, and it forces you back onto your own understanding.
Which is the one thing we're warned not to lean on.
Right. And then comes the practical result in verse 7. That person shouldn't expect to receive anything from God.
But the clarification on that was critical.
So critical. It's not that God is withholding the gift. It's that you won't take it.
You can't. The potluck analogy was perfect. If you doubt the person who made the dish, you're not going to eat it no matter how freely it's offered.
You just keep your distance. And that instability from doubt leads right into the second consequence. Divided interests.
Being double-minded.
Yeah, unstable in all your ways. You're chasing different fixes, different teachers, anything for a quick escape because you can't commit to trusting God's process.
And it splits you in 2 directions.
2 very dangerous directions. Self-interest or God's intention.
Self-interest just wants out of the pain now, at any cost.
And that cost is usually paid by someone else. Your family, your marriage, your job. You sacrifice relationships on the altar of your own comfort.
Whereas God's intention is the long game. It's for your maturity, your completeness.
The double-minded person can't pick a lane. They're just oscillating back and forth between what they want right now and what they know God wants for them eventually.
Okay, so that's the diagnosis. It's pretty intense. What was the action step? The what to do now?
It really boils down to one simple, conscious decision.
Let patience finish its work.
That's it. Decide to trust God and wait. It's the direct counterattack to doubt and the rush to escape.
Because rushing always leaves us incomplete.
Always. But waiting, which is fueled by trust, ensures the trial actually accomplishes its purpose, and you don't have to understand everything to trust him.
Right. We just have to believe that he understands everything.
He acts suddenly, but right on time, and all the while, we're just meant to be faithfully waiting and trusting.
And when we ask for that wisdom to help us wait, he gives it without making us feel bad for needing it.
Without any judgment. That grace is the fuel.
So if you had to synthesize that entire sermon, all 8 verses, into one single massive takeaway, what would it be?
Oh, it's that final concept he landed on. Trials heighten our awareness of God's bareness.
His presence. Yeah. That changes the entire equation.
It changes everything. If you know God is there, you can trust the process, even when it's dark. If you know God is there, you don't have to look out for yourself.
He already is.
He has your best interests at heart. His presence gives you the courage to choose patience over panic.
And his wisdom over your own self-interest.
Exactly. So you may be in a trial right now, and you may have no idea why it's happening, but if you will allow it, If you let patience do its work, that trial will confirm something far more important than the why. It will confirm that you know that he is Emmanuel, God with you, and that he will never, ever stop being with you.